I'm the last person that stands between you and fresh air, maybe some food, I think. So I'll try to make this, as Tariq said, maybe try to make it a bit more exciting. I really loved the last question, which was asked of the panelists before, which is how do you take the big data and build the business cases around it, which brings us to the topic of ROIs. But I think before we go into ROI, I just want to spend a few minutes going through just very simple things, table of contents in terms of what has changed over the past few years, what stayed the same, and the focus, as you can imagine from my experience, is going to be on financial services. You're in the budgeting phase right now. What's the first thing that gets cut when there's a pressure on expenses? It's your marketing budget. So you're back to like the basics. So what I want to sort of return back to is the basics. I'm a very simple person. I think my 3-year-old son knows more about the iPhone and the Apple products than I do. I just use it for the basic needs of SMSs and telephone service. So I'm not on Twitter or other social media things. What has changed over the last few years? Of course, economy is not the only thing that's changed. Regulations have becoming an increasing part of our everyday life. If you look at what's happening, as Ali just mentioned, the NSA leaks, and then now, of course, the phone monitoring and data collection by US. The latest allegations on, Spain has put on the US about 60 million phone calls that have been tapped, and the data has been collected over the last, in 30 days. Just imagine, 60 million SIM cards have been collected in a period of 30 days. So that goes back to the power of data. In the financial services industry, debit cards are becoming fast. It's becoming a sort of a preferred product over credit. It's displacing cash and checks. New generation, which is, I would not consider myself the new generation. I think most of you in the audience would be the new generation, the Generation Y, and the whole new digital terms that are being used to define you guys. You actually appreciate a lot more of the greener initiatives and of course, simplicity and more technically advanced products and services offered, which people of the previous age or generation tend to look at from a simplistic perspective. Consumers are today taking more responsibility and taking more care of their money, given the fact that they lost a lot in 2008, 2009. What has changed also, the card offers in the consumer finance area or the credit card industry is becoming more conservative. You've got more fees, interest rate credit lines, issuers are reducing limits, penalty charges, etc. These are the things that have changed over the last few years. What has remained the same? Credit cards still remain in your retail banking environment the most profitable product in your palette of products that you have. Issuers are attracting new clients with different offers. And of course, social media is playing a big role in that. Multi-product clients perform better in terms of your return on investment on any new initiatives that you take. And loyalty programs, of course, as schemes are becoming more competitive and more attractive. I put this slide up there because I thought a lot about this, and I said, okay, this may be too simple. Everybody's gone through Philip Kotter's, marketing strategy books back in the day, or they've done some other study. But even today, in every day-to-day work environment, this is probably the most important slide that you'll ever have to put in your presentations. Because a failure to plan is a plan that's going to fail. If you're doing a product strategy, if you're doing a social media strategy, if you're going to introduce new products and services, you've got to follow the curve, you've got to follow a plan of action. And that's why this slide, again, still years and years, it's been a long time since I looked at this, but I always keep going back to it. How do you improve ROI? This is the question. Now, investments can be in several different places. I put people as number one. Because if you don't have the right people and you're not investing in the right people, you're not going to get the right return on your investment. Because you're going to continuously learn from your mistakes and you're going to continuously make more mistakes. Technology and system is another investment we make. Ali and Ghana both mentioned the technology and the systems and the tools and the hardware and the software that's available to you. Marketing, advertising is an investment. Product development, distribution channel is an investment. Again, how do you improve it? I focused my first point on people. Simple as that. Can anybody tell me the basic principle of real estate business? What's critical in the real estate business? Location, location, location. What's critical in a customer engagement equals to a good ROI? What's critical in that? And I'll tell you, it's communication, communication, communication. More transparency, more clarity, more simplicity that people can understand and relate to. The more gobbledygook that you mention on your social media sites and your websites, the more confused people will get. The easier and simple your websites and your social media is to follow, more people will like you, more people will become your super fans, more people will become your fans. Loyalty programs, of course, generate a lot of strong financial results. You have to find the balance between the cost and the revenues that you generate. That's why the seesaw at the bottom. From planning to launching, you have to manage it over time. You have to manage the costs, you have to manage the timelines, you have to manage the execution, you have to manage the implementation. You have to manage everything, and that's the only way you're going to improve your ROI. Chances are, in a period of over 2 years, people are not going to even remember what the ROI was that was approved by the previous CFO or the previous manager. So you're going to be starting from a fresh slate of like sort of what's the new ROI on the new thing. I was just reading a Dilbert comic actually before I came on stage, and it said like, from today onwards, we're going to measure everything based on ROI. And Dilbert asked the question of his famous boss, right, with the hair like the horns. So what's the new policy on the ROI based on the calculation of the new ROI? And the boss's response is, I said from today. So he didn't even know the answer to that. Customer engagement, I'm going to, again, leave this with you. It's very basic, simple. I don't want to beat around the bush. I mean, everybody has spoken about this, and everybody said a lot of different things about customer engagement, effective customer engagement. You've got to communicate effectively and in a timely fashion. You've got to gather feedback from your existing customers before you do anything else and before you even build a business case, because your existing customers are going to tell you a lot about what's going on and what's not going on. Upgrade and cross-sell products within your existing base before you go out and search for new clients, because that's an investment, of course, that you have to make. Decrease the churn on your, and focus more on retention. I think a lot of times we focus so much on new accounts that we continue to lose focus on who we have and how they're just sort of leaking from the bucket, and we just keep filling the bucket with more cards, more cards, more cards. That goes back to Ghana's comment about banks calling people 7-8 times a week saying, would you like a new credit card? Risk management is also important in financial services sector, as much as regulations and oversights or insights on other things. And of course, I go back to the basic principle of net promoter scores. This is basic, simple surveys that you can conduct of your existing customers and identify, as our friend from Nestle mentioned, your superfans. People who are going to promote your product. In the banking sector, financial services, you measure more things based on NPSs than we do based on Facebook likes and sort of identifying the face-painted individual who stands outside the branch saying, I love this credit card. You don't find those things. You only find it at football matches. I've got, I think, only 2 or 3 slides left, so I kind of helped yourself and helped myself answer the few questions as it relates to ROI, of course, and loyalty. Does loyalty cannibalize usage? And what do you mean by that? If I'm going to launch a loyalty program, and I know the topic had the last sentence of a successful loyalty program. So everybody has a successful loyalty program. Nobody would say my program is not so successful. But does it cannibalize usage? Because a lot of times people say, like, am I rewarding people who would have used the card anyway in the first place? Does it really matter? I think what you have to do is how do you prevent it is by looking at the data and the insights from your own existing customers, saying, who are the ones using it? What are the ticket sizes they're using it for? What's the frequency of use? And then, of course, you encourage more spend and try to provoke the other non-users into acting in the similar fashion. Consistency of your communication across all channels is critical for your success. There's a lot of C's in there, so if you notice. What's an acceptable ROI? Answer is, I don't know. Some people say it's, the tradition was, I should get $2 for every dollar I spend. This is what, the old school thinking had been. Today, you can make $2 by spending 10 cents. You could actually make $2 by spending 0. By using social media sites like Twitter, Facebook, and other places. So you may not have to make the investment in terms of getting the customers that you need and engaging them in your business. Risk management, again, in financial services, from our perspective, for financial sector, it's better targeting and better use of proxy information. The old school way of the new generation, and as I see, I really get scared sometimes thinking about what the world is going to look like when my son is going to be 10 years old or 20 years old. Because the way we're moving is so fast, it took us a long time to go from the zigzag machines to the point of sale terminals. and it was a transformation in the industry. But the industry has transformed from the point-of-sale machines to these tap-and-goes and mobile to mobiles and all that stuff in a very short period of time. I don't know what the future holds in the payments industry, so risk management is going to continuously remain as the #1 focus. Lifecycle management to improve authorization approval rates, for example. A lot of times in our financial services sector, we don't look at this kind of data. We only look at like how many new cards did we sell today? How many cards have been activated or unblocked? How many cards have we lost as consumers who have, sort of left our institution? We never look at sort of stuff that's available to us saying like, what's my approval rate like? Because maybe somebody left because the card wasn't working properly as it should. So there's a lot of different things you can do that. This is my last slide, and instead of concluding with my own thoughts and opinions, I figure I might as well steal some other people's quotations. So Bill Gates, your most unhappy customers are the greatest source of learning for you. Because a happy customer is not going to come and tell you, you're doing great, good job. It's always the customer who's unhappy with you is going to come and say, why does it take you 5 days to respond to my complaint? Or I spoke to my banker in such and such branch about such and such issue and it's still not resolved. We forget that we are consumers at the end of the day also. We think and we internalize things from our own organizational perspective. We never look at it from the outside in view, we see it from the inside out view. Alice McDowell, in business, you get what you want by giving people what they want. I think Steve Jobs had a quotation similar to this when he built the iPhone. It's like, and Dubai has a statement like this also, you build it and they will come, which is true. The last one is from British Airways. Customers don't expect you to be perfect. They do expect you to fix things when they go wrong. So they're not expecting you to be right 100% of the time. They want acknowledgement. We as individuals and as human beings, we want to be recognized and acknowledged for the things that we are doing on a day-to-day basis. It doesn't take supercomputers or it doesn't take like super gadgets to make us happy. If my SMS goes off in the morning of my birthday and I receive a message from my bank or somebody else saying, many happy returns of the year, Happy New Year instead of happy birthday, because you're starting a new year of your life, I probably will have a smile on my face and say, they remembered. This goes back to Lisa's presentation yesterday on Twitter, living in the moments. We don't celebrate these moments with our customers, and that's how we lose engagement with them. That's how we create a distance, and somebody who's not using your product is using somebody else's product. So on that note, I'm going to finish my presentation. I think I have done it on time. I should be given an award for that. Next time, I'll take any questions if you have from the audience. Thank you.
Thank you very much.